Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a eyeshadow palette tag video. I love eyeshadow palettes. Eyeshadow palettes is something that I have a ton of in my collection besides everything else, but eyeshadow palettes is like probably one of my top categories I have a lot of. So I definitely wanted to do this tag. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I do upload 3 times a week, Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss out. And let's just go ahead and jump in. So this tag was created by Samantha March and Allie Glines. I'll leave both of their channels down below. So the first question is show your newest palette, and that is actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today as well. It is in this week's Shop My Stash, which is the Lunar Beauty Strawberry Dream palette. All of the shades on my eyes is in this palette right here. This is the first time I've actually done like a really dramatic eye look with this palette, and I was very impressed, and you can tell that it's very pigmented too. I did receive this shade Broken, so I'm trying to be careful, but this is what my newest eyeshadow palette is. But I really am loving this palette. Again, this is in my Shop My Stash. I've used it a few times, and so far I've been really impressed. I love Lunar Beauty formula, so I've definitely been enjoying this. Next up is show your oldest palette, and that is going to be my Little Mac holiday palette. I got this 11 years ago. I don't use it, but I've kept it just because it's just been sentimental for me to keep. I'll share with you guys why, because another one of these is show your palette with the best memory, which will be this. So I don't want to really talk about it a lot, but look how much I've used it. I haven't used this in years, you guys. I'm just keeping it for sentimental reasons, but look how much I've used. You can see like dip in a lot of the shades, pan on some, and I'll be showing another one as well that I bought with these together. But this is my oldest palette, and I just keep it for, again, sentimental reasons. So this is the MAC Intriguing Scarlet 6 Warm Eyes palette. And yeah, I just keep it, and it's probably something that I'll never get rid of. Next, I'm using my phone, so if you guys see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my phone. So it's show your most expensive palette. And I knew exactly which one I was going to talk about when I read that, and that is my Natasha Denona Purple Blue palette. I got this for Valentine's Day a few years ago from my husband, and here is what mine is looking like. I love this palette. It's such a great formula. The pigmentation is super buttery. It's so good. I have a Natasha Denona palette that I don't really like the formula of. I feel like it's different compared to like this one and other ones I've tried, but this one is definitely my most expensive palette. I believe this palette is $229. Next up is show your most affordable palette, and I would have had a cheaper one, but I actually decluttered it like a few declutters ago, so I went in with this one by Essence. This one costs $9.99 plus tax, but this is the Essence Never Give Up Your Daydream palette. A lot of my palettes are a little over $10, but this one is the cheapest one. I used to have one by LA Colors, and it was like a little like 5-color palette, and that was like $3 or $4. So that one would have been my cheapest palette, but I don't even have the little e.l.f. bite-sized palettes, because that one would definitely be the cheapest, and I think that's one that a lot of people would probably be putting in this eyeshadow tag video. But this one's my cheapest, and this one's more of a pastel-y type of color. Hopefully you guys can see. It's a pastel, like inner corner lid shape type of colors. You get beautiful pastel-y tones. I don't have very many of these, and some of these are kind of like duochrome too. It is Essence, and it's super affordable, so it's not gonna be amazing quality, but for the price I feel like it is nice. So again, this is my cheapest palette in my collection, which is $9.99. Show your everyday palette. Again, I have a lot of palettes, and I do Shop My Stash, so I try to rotate all of my palettes, so I don't have one specific palette that I reach for every day, again, because I do Shop My Stash. But one, if I did reach into, would be this one, which is the Huda Beauty Medium Nude palette. I really like the color scheme in here. This is my kind of tones for every day. Like, I love these tones, those pinky. I even have like this burgundy-ish kind of color, this color too. Like, those are just my everyday kind of shades. So when I picked this up, I was very happy to have it in my collection, because it's something that I can reach for every single day, and it's just the Mariela palette. So I really like this palette. This definitely would be considered an everyday palette for me, but again, since I do shop my stash, I don't really focus on just one palette unless it's in a project pan, then I do. But again, I try to rotate my collection. Next up is show your most colorful palette. And I had a few in mind because I buy a lot of colorful palettes, but this one in particular was like, this is a colorful palette. This is the Beauty Bay EYN Bright Matte. And then the EYN stands for everything you need. Let me show you guys. Everything you need right here, look. Every kind of purples, blues, greens, oranges, reds, pinks, everything you need is just right here. This is definitely the most colorful palette I have. You get every shade in here, plus other tones in that family. This is very affordable. I think this is a $20 palette, and you can get it on the Beauty Bay site. And I actually really like the formula on this as well. I need to pull it out more and play with it more, but the times I have used it, I have enjoyed. So this is definitely the most colorful palette I own. For my biggest palette, I decided to go with like really which one was the biggest, because I have a few palettes that are thick, especially like the Jeffree Star like Conspiracy and Blood Sugar palette, and also I have one from what's it called? It's a Secret Sinner palette by P. Louise. Like those ones are the thick ones, but I decided to pick this one right here. This is the biggest palette I have. This is the James Charles times Morphe palette. I don't reach for this a lot, but I didn't want to get rid of it either. Here's what the inside looks like. I have the big Papa. Like if he would have came out with the big one and the little one, I probably would have picked up the smaller version, just because this is a pretty big palette. And I don't know, I thought about putting this in my freelance kit just because I don't really reach for it a lot and just to have more color in my freelance kit, but this is definitely the biggest palette I own. I guess this is big too, but you can see here, like it's bigger than the Beauty Bay palette. So now I'm gonna do the show your smallest palette, and for that I picked this one right here. This is the Natasha Denona Mini Nude palette, and it's definitely the smaller side-ish, but definitely cute, perfect for travel. This is my smallest palette. I enjoy this. I love the color scheme. It's a perfect everyday palette. You get shimmers, you get the dark, you get a nice crease color, you get a nice lid color, a bronzy and a copper shade for the lid. I feel like you kind of get everything you need in this little small compact little palette. So this one is definitely the smallest palette I have. Show your palette with the best memory. So it comes back to this. So I have two of these MAC ones. So this one's the Intriguing Scarlet, and then this one's the Fascinating Ruby. These were both given to me by my husband. Back then he was just my boyfriend, and we went to MAC and he bought me a lot of MAC stuff. These are sentimental for me. This is the best memory I've had. That's why I keep them. So I already showed this one earlier, and you can see how much pan I had in this one. But look at this other one. This one has major pan as well, and a lot of dips too. I wish a lot of my palettes actually were like this, just because you can tell I use these. So these definitely had to go in the best memory category, just because these were given to me and I still have them. Like these were the first palettes, high-end, that introduced me to high-end makeup. Like I was all about MAC, and then I discovered Sephora and Ulta, and it's been crazy ever since. But these are the ones that have the best memory for me, because my husband bought them for me, and he introduced me to high-end, which he probably wished he didn't. Next up is show a palette worth the hype. So for that category, I ended up picking this Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. I picked this because of the color scheme. So you get those pretty like everyday kind of colors, and then these green grungy shades. I feel like green is like a wearable color to wear, if that makes any sense. Like purple I feel like is a wearable color too, and green as well, but I thought you get the 2-in-1, you get the everyday kind of colors, and then you get these green tone shades as well. So this is the one I picked for definitely worth the hype. The formula is a little powdery, but I still like it. I love the pigmentation and I love the color scheme as well. Next up is show a palette not worth the hype. And I ended up going with this one right here. Some people like it and some people don't. I'm part of the it's alright palette. This is the Huda Beauty Emerald Obsessions. Earlier I did mention a palette that I do enjoy, but this one in particular is like green tone shades. I picked this up. This is kind of sentimental to me too. The reason why I picked this one up is because it's my daughter's birthstone, and I don't know, like I was kind of wishing it had more matte shades, because you pretty much only get these 3 mattes, and then everything else is just shimmer satin shades. So I don't know, I don't ever declutter this, just again because I got it for sentimental reasons, but this is definitely one that's not worth the hype to me. A lot of people rave about the Huda Beauty Obsessions, which I do enjoy as well, but this one in particular I don't really like. Show your favorite palette from a favorite brand, and ColourPop is one that's one of my favorites. It's super affordable, they're pigmented. I don't know, I just enjoy the brand. I feel like they give a lot of variety and they always have options for us. So my favorite palette from ColourPop is the Dream Street palette times Kathleen Lights and ColourPop palette. This is one of my favorites just because I love the color scheme, which is perfect for every day, and then you get those fun pops of color as well. This one's pretty fun too. It's kind of like a greenish bluish kind of color. I don't know, it's super pretty. This is definitely my favorite ColourPop palette. I enjoy it. I love the color scheme in here. Again, you get the perfect everyday, some pops. Super affordable too. Like, what's better than being affordable and amazing? Check out ColourPop if you haven't. I'm sure a lot of us have ColourPop in our collection. And then lastly, it says show your most used palette, and this one I picked because it wasn't a project pan and it's definitely the most used, the one that has the most pan in it too, which is the Lorac Pro 2 palette. So let me show you guys. Look at this. Again, the most used just because I have a lot of pan in here. I definitely use this a ton to show progress, of course, but this is definitely the most used because I used it a ton to even hit pan, you know what I mean? So, most used palette right here, and I just spilled some of this brown shadow that's just gonna get everywhere. Now it's all over my hand and my desk. Okay, so yeah, this is my most used. I like the formula, it's really nice and buttery and pretty pigmented too, so, oh look, it's on my hand too. We'll just put that to the side. Definitely most used palette. So I hope you guys enjoyed this eyeshadow palette tag video. If you did this video, let me know down in the comment section below. I haven't watched a lot of them, but I definitely wanted to be part of it, and I need to go and watch some so I wasn't swayed into my picks for my video. So if you have this video, again, let me know down in the comment section below so I can check it out. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!